Hey Wizards, coming to you today with a deck that you probably shouldn't build, but that I had a bit of fun with. So this was originally a very budget, zero rare deck that is essentially Eagle here, which is a flying lord, flying other creatures you control flying, get +1/+1. We run 4 copies of these. They're in Foundations, and then we just run a bunch of other flying creatures like Healer's Hawk, Spectral Sailor, Spyglass Siren, Diversion Unit from the new set, um, and hit opponent face. This is very aggro. If you're not winning turn 6, you're probably not winning the game. And it's definitely not as good as tier 1 aggro like Mice and Boros Mice and stuff like that. That said, it can still be a bit of fun. And at no rares, it's pretty okay. So that's excluding the Skyknight Squire and the HighNoons, which I'll talk about in a second, and just filling them with other cards. There's a lot of flying cards in the sets. You can easily find a couple of cards to replace them, or do more interaction, or buff your current flyers. You have quite a few options. The problem is that opponents are going to play more valuable cards than you in most games, especially when you get into Mythic, Diamond, and Plat. And so I was experimenting with some other things, and HighNoon came across my field of view. HighNoon, 1 and a white, enchantment. It is a rare. Each player can't cast more than one spell each turn. 4 and a red, you can sacrifice this enchantment, deals 5 damage to any target, though we aren't playing any red in the set I'm using here. So that lets you turn 2 drop that, and then opponents can't play more than one card per turn, and I've certainly seen a lot of opponents really slowed down by this. It's a bit of fun. If you happen to already have these laying around, even if you only have 2 or 3 of them, I'd consider building the deck and having some fun with it. It is worth that much at least. I also threw in some Skyknight Squires here because they do get the flying if you can put 3 +1/+1 counters on them. And they're just generally a good card, and I've really liked this after playing the Cats deck so much. And then I've also got some Fog Banks in here, which might not be something you're familiar with. They are 1 in a blue, defender flying, but they prevent all combat damage that be built to and by this card. So good way to stall out someone's Atraxa or something like that. Atraxa actually isn't a good example because you still get the lifelink. I believe. I'd actually have to test that. It does prevent the combat damage, and you gain life from the combat damage, so maybe they don't. Ultimately, though, this card's here to stall out cards and try to help you get just a turn or 2 extra time to hit with your flyers. Shelter by Ghost is the king of this deck. No big surprise there. It lets us remove their interactions, their choices, and if HighNoon's already down, we're often just removing their turn. Spectral Sailor I can see going up on just because it has the flash. Really, any card with flash is great with HighNoon. Shardmage's Rescue helps save your creatures. Into the Flood Maw, Unsummon are super crucial cards for removing and bouncing cards. Unsummon crucially can bounce your Eagle back to hand if they're going to do a board wipe. That can be a big turn for you. Yeah, overall, a fairly flexible deck. There's a lot of flyers. There's going to be more flyers coming out, no doubt. Keep an eye on this. You may be able to build something fairly cheap and fairly robust with it. Some other ideas I had in here, opt just for some card filtering and draw. It's not bad, but it's not really where you want to be in aggro deck. Tracker. This is exile 2 cards from a single graveyard. It's not bad. You get a little exile removal if you're playing maybe BO3 and you're seeing a lot of that. Raise the Past I wanted to talk about because at first it looks enticing, and ultimately what I found is because it misses Eagle, you're actually never caring that much about this at the top of your curve. You're mostly getting a couple heroes, Hawks, and a Siren back, and it's just not good enough, especially at the rare cost. Grand Entryway is interesting. It gets you that Glimmer and can put 2 +1/+1 counters on a target creature for only 3 mana. That 3 mana version where you get +2 counters can be pretty good to make something just a little bit bigger, or Skyknight Squire able to fly. Memory Garden is something I wanted to play, but we aren't actually running enough artifacts. The way I would include this, if you wanted to go the Memory Garden route, is to have a couple of the artifacts that exile target opponent's creatures. Yeah, and then play these as your top end curve, and I think that's fine. If you want to do that, there is definitely a set there for that. Take out maybe the HighNoons, which is an enchantment, and make sure you're playing the Diversion Units, maybe take out some of your other non-artifact creatures. The Siren stays because the map token is an artifact. It can definitely work In this current setup, because largely High Noon is an enchantment, I didn't like it as much, but the deck is definitely there if you want it. Fear of Abduction is also just a card that can help remove another creature. However, you have to exile a creature you control as well, and it's 6 mana. It is a flying 5/5, which does nice things, but I think it's a little too high for the top end we want to go, especially since it only exiles target opponent creatures, which isn't super good when your opponent's playing non-creature stuff. So go ahead and remove those as well. Overall, solid archetype that I hope we see a little bit more support for in the long run, that we can do more things. If you got the High Noons, consider building it. With that, let's go ahead and hop into a couple games. Oh, hey, Dragonlord Will again. Seen him recently. Plains, Island, High Noon, Eagle, Sailor, Siren, Unsummon, and yeah, this is a pretty okay opening hand. We'll go Island into, I think, Siren here. Turn 2, we'll drop High Noon. Yeah, turn 2, High Noon. They play Temple of Epiphany. I wish I remembered what they played. We'll go play Plains and High Noon here. Get in for 1. It's one of those cards where everyone's got to stop and read it because no one's seen it. I do wonder if there was ever a meta around it that I just missed because I came back to the game pretty much at the tail end of the set. Play Island and drop Eagle, I think. They could have removal here. That would suck, but gotta play cards. Unfortunately, Raise the Pass misses Eagle. Swing for 2 with the Siren. Okay. -2, my Siren, so that's fine. Doesn't die because it's not -2, -2, it's just the power. I wonder how many more flash cards the opponent has. Okay, they don't really do anything. I guess we can play Diversion Unit here. Swing 4. Fear of Imposters. Okay, they're going to counter that. It's not really that big of a deal, but opponent is pretty much playing on my turn exclusively. I guess we can Manifest Dread for the 2/2. No flyer there, so that sucks. I think I want to keep the Unsummon handy. Scry 1. They're not able to block our flying evasion, though, so they've got a little ways to go. They do top deck something. Unsummon returns creature, so we can bounce our Eagle back if we need to. Okay. That's not really that big of a deal. They get in some damage here. We could Unsummon. I think we just let them do the damage. Drop Sailor. I'm pretty sure that Manifest Dread card comes back to me. It does. We drop Eagle and get even more damage. Drop them to 4. And they get to play 1 card this turn. This is a big board to handle on 1 card. Opponent got anything? They're going to swing. That's fine. I think we're happy enough to block 3 damage here. We might lose Eagle to some combat trick, but nope. And that's going to be GG. I'm just going to give the Eagle the trigger, see what our next card even would have been. Skyknight Squire is actually not bad. Alright, finish the game. Opponent got any kind of like Aetherize? They do have Aetherize. Holy crap. Okay. Well, that certainly puts my board back, but that's fine. We drop Eagle. They play Overlord, deal 4 damage, kill off my Eagle. And that's it. That's their turn outside the attack. Okay. So we play Eagle. And on their turn, we play Sailor, and then we still win. Dude, that Aetherize came out of nowhere. So good. We will, I think, have to bounce the Eagle if they have removal for it. Okay. We can block that, yeah? Okay, we do have to unsummon the Eagle. Pending still tricking down. Okay. Eagle comes back in. If they've got more removal for it, we're probably dead. Yeah, we're probably dead. Enduring Courage is certainly a card. It does not gain the haste, though, and they can attack, but I can block that. Impending. Sailor comes down. That should be lethal. Yep, and they scoop. Whoo, boy, that was tight. That was close. Dragonlord Will playing a good card. Playing some good cards. It's interesting how much you see opponents playing decks that are like, I'm going to counter things on your turn when you play a deck like this. At least in high mythic. Or, you know, moderate mythic, as the case is. Still, a pretty good showing, all things considered. HighNoon really slowing down what ultimately was probably a better deck. So that's cool to see. That's really the goal of it. It's unfortunately you have to do 4 rares in what's otherwise a budget deck to get there, though. But hey, it works. Up against Tisdel, 1-2. Okay, opening hand. We've got the Shelter by Ghost. We've got a turn 1 Healer's Hawk. Unsummons getting found as well. Not awful. We'll see if we want to turn 2 Shelter by Ghost or turn 2 Diversion Unit here. Opponent does nothing, so I guess it's the Diversion Unit. 3 damage in the air is pretty good for this deck. It's the kind of thing we care about early on. We'll see what opponent does now. They plot something. Okay, Outcaster Trailblazer. That's not too big of a deal. We'll get in for 3 damage. Outcaster Trailblazer comes down, adds the mana. They've got 4 mana to work with now. Overlord of the Hauntwoods comes down in a impending mode. So not really the biggest turn for them. We find Skyknight Squire, which is not bad. We can do this and hold up the 1 mana for the Diversion Unit. So that's pretty good. Go up to 23. They're down to 13. This is how we want to start our games. That is a raw full Overlords. Actually fine. They draw a card, and we'll go ahead and unsummon it. Okay, opponent does nothing. The impending triggers. Okay, what can we do this turn? I would have liked to play a creature, but I don't think we can do that. So I think we play Shelter by Ghost on the Skyknight Squire, steal the Trailblazer, get in for 5, drop them to 8, hold up on Summon and Diversion Unit's ability. They play a Tali. 7/7 Trample. Exiles the top cards of our libraries until they find creatures. Man, that sucks. Spyglass Siren isn't too big of a deal, but Bone Horde Dragon is a monster. So we've got to bounce that. Overlord's going to come out next turn. We find too many Diversion Units to use. Yeah, and no matter what we steal, we then can't attack with it. So I guess it's got to go to the Skyknight Squire, which is actually going to get bigger. Steal the Primal. Attack with these 2 creatures. They'll probably trade for the Diversion Unit, but we have 2 more in hand. They only drop to 7 here, and they get to play pretty much any of their monstrous cards again, right? And the other Overlord's going to come down. There's a Trumpeting Carnosaur, which they actually could have used to blow up Skyknight Squire, and I'm surprised they didn't. All they hit is a Llanowar Elf, though. That's a big miss. We draw a land here. Maybe we can do something okay. Map token on the Llanowar. It's another Llanowar. They filter that off immediately. Yeah. Their hand is so big, though. Spyglass Siren comes down, gets us a trigger. I think it's got to be a Diversion Unit here. We're still a ways away from getting big enough to fly. Is that 3 or 4? 3 counters. So our next Diversion Unit does it. And we've got enough life to live here. We might actually be able to do it. Terror of the Peaks comes down. They don't have enough mana to kill off our Skyknight Squire. But it has flying, and we have no way to stop it. Overlord comes down. So we need, like... Yeah, we need quite a bit here. I guess we Diversion Units. That'll give Skyknight flying. If we swing with it, it dies, right? So I guess we swing with the 2 of you. You'll block something. It gets you down to 5. We can't map token because we need to hold up that Shardmage's rescue for the Skyknight Squire. Silverback Elder. That is a huge problem if they realize that they can kill some very crucial cards. They can kill off one of... Oh wait, did it not do it? Okay. Artifact or enchantment. They're probably going for one... Yep. Dang it. So they get a Tally back? They do. That's going to trigger. They could deal 7 damage to my other creature. A Tally discovers. HighNoon gets triggered. That's hilarious. We cannot protect. So we lose that. There's so many triggers. Holy crap. Oh, shoot. We missed the Shardmage. Whoops. Yeah. Okay. Jeez. I don't know that they have lethal here, but man, do they have a lot. That was a weird saddle. I think this is lethal. Yeah, this has got to be lethal. Like, they got 15 something there alone. Crazy. John Cox? Cox? I have no idea. Keeps 7 here. Play the island into Sailor or Siren. Probably Siren turn 1. Want to think about what they want to do. They just play a tap land that deals 1 damage to target opponent in green-white. Is that a cactus tree? That is a gorgeous looking cactus tree. Turn 2, not really much that we wanted. We'll tap, find more land. Kind of crazy considering we're really not running that many lands. I guess maybe we're still at like 22, 21, and maybe we could bring that down with how aggressive our deck is. Llanowar Elf comes down, that's fine. Pass, we'll play Spectral Sailor. Lord? Not Lord. Diversion Unit's not bad, though. Especially since we get to keep the mana up. Get in for 2, drop him to 17. Tumblewag comes down. Okay, that's a pain in the butt card. We can bounce that, though, after it gets too big. So it's not a huge issue. There's our Lord, and we get to hold up the Into the Flood Maw and Diversion Unit's ability. So that feels really good. We are doing the thing right now for sure. Shardmage's Rescue puts us up to 7 damage, 8, 9 damage. Dang. Just 1 point off. Still, opponent has to do some really strong things now to win. This is going to be like a bite effect, it looks like. which is going to force us to bounce it because we don't have Shardmage's Rescue open, or we can Into the Flood Maw it. Which is better here? I think bouncing it's better because then we stop it from getting the counter. So that's an easy 1-for-1, but now we need to leave some white open for Shardmage's Rescue next turn. Oh, they just scoop off that. Okay, cool. GG, deck doing the things it's supposed to do. Early aggression with just enough answers.